I finished Dragon Age the Veilguard recently, and I have some thoughts, some good and some not so good. This is by no means a comprehensive breakdown on my feelings for the game, as that would honestly take too long, and I don't know if any of us have 6 hours to spare. And just to clarify, before diving in, if you're watching this video near its release, my DATV Let's Play still has quite a few episodes left to go, and I'm excited to share them with you over the coming weeks. Let's talk about the world and gameplay first. I loved the environmental design, and I thought the Necropolis and Hossberg were a highlight. I enjoyed the quests and exploration in those areas. A common theme I found throughout my time in the game was, wait, is that it? As a lot of times the quest or general area would be very interesting, but then it would either just end abruptly or too soon, sadly. However, I found the puzzles, exploration, and combat to be a bit boring and repetitive. A lot of times it was the same pop the blight, move the wisp, crack the crystal, and it never felt like things were shaken up to keep it interesting. I did end up turning the combat difficulty down as I was just not having fun and personally didn't care to learn it any better as a result. I missed the 4-party system as well as being able to control companions, as in past games that was something I enjoyed doing to see different play styles. I was also disappointed that as a rogue, I never really felt like a rogue. I never once got to pick a real lock, and while some have mentioned that there are puzzles, it's not the same. I really and truly just like being able to do rogue things when playing as a rogue, and it never felt like I could sink into that playstyle archetype like I usually enjoy. For the story, I loved the origin system, as I felt like my Mournwatch Rook was very much treated like they belonged there and was a colleague of Emmerich's. It really and truly felt like she had gone through the experiences and training of being a member of Mournwatch, and I was delighted to see that reflected in the dialogue. I could see someone wanting to replay this game just to see how it feels to be each of the various origins. Davrin and Lucanus were both fantastic companions. I enjoyed both of their stories and having them in my main team. I also romanced Lucanus, and to be honest, it was really hard for me to pick between Davrin and Lucanus, but I ended up going with Lucanus, and his romance was fantastic. A little on the super slow burn side, but I thought it fit his character well, and I very much enjoyed his story. Actually, the Crows overall were a fun bunch, and my absolute favorite main story beat moment occurred in Treviso towards the end of the game. However, that's where my enthusiasm for the writing starts to wane. I found that Rook was often talked down to, or things were explained to them in a very childish, simplistic manner, which just wasn't for me. And the worst part was that Rook could never push back, could never get angry or reply with some firmness. It was always shades of being nice and sweet and maybe a smidge bit of sarcasm. But I often found that despite picking the more angry or mean tonal choices, I still felt stupidly nice. I actually don't feel like I could ever be mean. Ever. Even to the bad guys, which is still a little weird to me. The plot overall was a little too simple for me, in that I feel like things were just explained away by similar narrative devices that swept it aside, and then that was that. When it came to respecting past choices and seeing old characters, this is where the game really lost me. So many times I found myself thinking, that might not have been what happened in my past game. Most of the time when past things were mentioned, it felt like the perfect, happy Disney version of what could have been, and not everyone plays that way. I honestly wasn't a fan of how that was handled. I would have rather they either ask us more questions as to our world state at the start of the game, or simply omitted these things from the conversation or codex entries to allow you to retain your own world state immersion. When it came to physically talking to past characters, I wasn't the biggest fan of how most were portrayed, and would have rather they not been in the game or written with some more nuance to reflect the 3 choices that you could import into the game, as I felt like it was very odd that my Inquisitor, who vowed to stop Solus and disband the Inquisition, was still the leader of the Inquisition and wanted to save Solus. Overall, this game has some high points and some low points, but it was not the game for me. And as of this moment, I don't foresee myself returning to it. As a Dragon Age fan, am I a little sad? Of course, but not every game is meant for me. I'll continue to enjoy the world of Thedas in the past 3 games as I did prior to DATV releasing. If you're looking for my thoughts on specific moments in the game, I invite you to check out my Let's Play if you haven't yet, as that will give you a more accurate how I was feeling in the moment opinion. If you did like this game, I hope you continue to enjoy it for countless playthroughs to come, and if you didn't, I hope you'll join me in Thedas in one of the other games. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!